Hello and welcome back to the channel. In the last episode we got the suspension working and it's still working, and what we're going to do now is look at the brakes. I bled them again and tested it on the drive, and the brake pedal is still spongy and there's just not really much bite in the brakes at all. So before I go ahead and bleed the brakes all over again, just wanted to check that the master cylinder was behaving itself. So what I did was disconnect the brake lines and bung the master cylinder up with bleed screws, and then I just gravity bled it for a few minutes to get the air out. And the brake pedal is absolutely solid. And that's great news because it means that the seals inside the master cylinder are fine. If there was a problem, it would just still sink straight through. So I'm pretty sure it's just still air in the system. So I must have been doing something wrong when bleeding them the last few times. And one of those things is I was using the wrong bleed sequence. So I thought that, like you see a lot on YouTube and on the internet, you start at the wheel that's furthest away from the master cylinder. So the master cylinder's there. So your first port of call is to delete the back wheel there, and then you gradually work your way around, getting closer and closer to the wheel that's closest to the master cylinder. And then I read in the Haynes Book of Lies that that's wrong because Agnetha has dual circuit brakes. So dual circuit brakes are what you'd have on all modern cars, I think, now. So you get some extra redundancy. If one circuit dies through a leak or whatever, you've still got another brake circuit to operate at least half of the wheels on the car. So this is one brake circuit and this is the other brake circuit. And on the Allegro they're diagonally split. So one circuit does, I think, the front left wheel and then the back right wheel. And then the other circuit, whichever one it is, will do the front right wheel and the back left wheel. The recommended bleed sequence for this car is pick any wheel at the front and bleed that, and then go to the rear and pick the opposite wheel, and then come back to the front, do the other side, and repeat in the rear. So you do like a kind of X shape starting at the front of the car. So I'm going to try that now. Alright, well that was a really good workout. Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to walk tomorrow. There was a lot of air in it, and I found I really had to put much more pressure on the pedal than I thought I had the last few times I've done this, and last few times my daughter's been on the pedal as well. Even with me being like, I don't know, twice her weight, it was a lot of effort. A few people on the interwebs gave me some advice, like treat it like CPR, so like bam, 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 and hold the brake pedal down, stick a bit of wood on it overnight, that kind of thing. So I'm willing to try all of that. I haven't tried the block of wood overnight yet, but I did use like a couple of different techniques, and I went around the whole thing twice. The amazing thing about the Allegro is, and I didn't realise this until I just tried it, to bleed the brakes, as long as the suspension's up, you don't actually have to raise the car or take the wheels off. If you've got long enough arms, you can reach the bleed screws and loosen them off, and you can just do it with the car on the ground, which is fantastic. And I think the key to this, assuming this actually works, is this little motherfucker. This is a one-way valve, so I paid about 20 zlotys for it. It's like £4.50 or £5, something like that. And you just stick this on the bleed screw, and it just doesn't let the air return when you take when you take your foot off the pedal. So you can really do this just by yourself. And yeah, I think things like the vacuum, I think they're okay for little bits and pieces, but when you've got a whole tandem circuit car to do, even a small one like the Allegro, you need the pressure from the brake pedal. Really must get this steering rack sorted out. Okay, test drive time. Interestingly enough, the brake warning light has gone off. That's possibly a good sign. Okay, will it start? You're joking. Me of little faith. Alright. Another thing to do is have a good look at the carb and give it a tune, and the engine timing. Just never got around to it so far. To be fair in Agnetha, I think this is probably the first time I've started her up with the temperature below 20 degrees. So first proper cold start. Not too shabby. Okay, it's pretty shabby, but give her a break. Okay, so that was the first moment of peril. Now a slightly more real moment of peril, from will it start to will it stop. You can just use the handbrake if it doesn't stop, or turn the engine off. Okay. Right, let's go. Oh wow, it really stopped. Oh my god, it works. Right. Let's see if we can go through the garage door. I mean, let's see if we can stop before we hit the garage door. No, not bad. Not setting the world on fire either. That's 4. don't forget these discs haven't been used since about 1988 or 89, so the surface condition isn't going to be great. But I think with running it up and down a bit and just using it, it might just bring them back to life. But that is a convincing stop. As is that. You have got your seatbelt on. I haven't got mine. Amazing. One more. A little bit reluctant, but it's there. I think with a bit more use, this will be okay. Look at this, lights all work, even the number plate light. Headlights, side lights, got that nice classic car wiring loom with the relays, so they're really bright and they're not going to burst into flames, hopefully. Pointing at the ground a little bit, but we can adjust that. I'm so chuffed and so pleased that I almost forgot to record my closing statements. Well done, old girl. What a survivor. So there's quite a few new people to the channel, and if you don't already know the background, this is an Austin Allegro estate, one of maybe less than 50 that have survived in the world, and this one's particularly rare because it's Swedish specification. To do about 10 takes to get that right. So it's got the old headlight wipers. So everyone says, you know, Allegros are crap, British Leyland are crap, but this car has been off the road since 1988 or 89 in an area of Sweden that's not that far from the Arctic Circle, and it's just sat around, gone from owner to owner. No one's ever managed to get it back on the road, and it didn't rot, it didn't completely fall apart, it pretty much stayed together. And by the time I got to it, I just had to do all the usual things you'd have to do to a car that hasn't been driven in 35 years. So unseize the engine, do the brakes, suspension, do all the electrics, go through absolutely everything, and it just works. It's amazing how well it's held together. I wouldn't like to bet my chances on, you know, any new car that you'd buy. Doesn't matter what manufacturer, buy a new car, leave it lying around the Arctic Circle for 35 years and try and get it running. I wouldn't fancy your chances. This old girl's a survivor, and she's going to stay with me forever and ever and ever. And next spring she is going on the road, or next year sometime, hopefully, possibly. We'll see.
Na pewno, pewnie, jasne. Zobaczymy, czas pokaże, czas pokaże.
I have just been driving it up and down, braking as hard as I dare with these 50-year-old tyres. Hopefully they're not older than 50 years. And I think it is getting a bit better. So I think the braking material that's on the pads is starting to do its business, and maybe the surface of the discs is also starting to bed in a bit. So I think it's going to be okay. But MOT warriors, I know you're out there, don't worry. The rules in Poland are you have to MOT a car before it goes back on the road. It doesn't matter if it's a classic car or historic vehicle, they all have to be tested, so don't you worry. So thanks very much for watching. Thanks to new subscribers, picking up quite a few. This is quite weird. I'm so happy I might just do a hub nut pachu. Hope he doesn't mind. So, Ian, this one's for you.